Hello friends, welcome to my channel here at Techies. In this video, let me share some important interview questions in Angular NGRX. So before sharing this question and answers, let me provide some overview of NGRX. So NGRX is one of the popular state management library. It is using the REDUX pattern. See this diagram. So in this REDUX pattern, we have a four important area. The first one is store, then action, reducer, and selector. Okay, this store is responsible for the state data. Okay, and this selector, using this selector we can consume this stored data and we can use in our component side. And the next one is action. So the action we can dispatch from our component side. So whenever the event is triggered, based on the event we can dispatch the respective actions. Okay, then the request is coming to our reducer side. So reducer is a function. So based on the action, it will take the action type, okay? And then it will modify the existing state in our store, okay? This is the flow. So whenever state is modified, the value will automatically reflected in our component side. So in case if you have more than one component also, if you are consuming the same data in all the components, once the data is modified, it will be reflected in the all the components, okay? That is the flow. And the final one is EFX. It's for handling the HTTP services. Okay, so in this real-time scenarios, obviously we have to call the API, I mean the services. So in this scenario, from this action it will go to the FX. From the FX we can identify what is the type of action. So based on the action we can call the services. Once we got the response, it will come to the action once again. Then based on the response data, we will modify our state from this reducer side. Okay. So this is the actual flow. So the same flow we can verify from the code also. So let me show one example. So we can use associate as the example purpose. The first one is state. Okay. So it is a kind of object. It's having some default values. Okay. And the next one is action. So in this action file, we have a different actions. Anyway, let me take the first three. Load associate success, and load associate fail. So this success and fail have some props. If it is success, we will get the list of associate information. So if it is failed, we will get the error message. Okay. So the actions are defined using this create action function. Okay. So the action also done. So and the next thing is dispatching action from the component side. So let me go to the component. Okay, from this associate listing component. So in this initial page load, we are just dispatched this load associate action. Okay. So once it is dispatched, the request is directly goes to the EFX section. From this action, it is going to the FX side. So if you are checking this EFX, okay. From this EFX, first we are checking this action type. If it is load associate, then we are calling our services. Okay. So from this service, we can expect two responses. One is the positive response. We will get the list of associate information. And another one is failure scenario. If it is succeeded, we are dispatching this load associate success. Okay. And we are passing the list of associate information as the props. Okay. So then the request is coming to our reducer side. So in this reducer side also, we are just checking this action. If it is load associate success, first we are returning the existing state and then we are modifying this list object. Okay. So similarly, if it is the failure scenario, load associate fail, then we are modifying this error message only and also making this list as empty. Okay. So that's what the request is coming to action. Then it is goes to our FX, again coming back to the action, and now it is in the reducer. From this reducer, it is modified our existing state. Okay. So now we have the modified data in our store. It should be consumed in our component side by using the selectors. Okay. So next let me show you the selector. Okay, this is our selector file. So here I have written two selectors. Okay, one is returning the list and another one is returning one of the object. Okay, so that we will see very deeply later. So next we can see how we are consuming in our component side. See, from this store we have a selector function. So inside the select we are using this selector get associate list, then we are subscribing this one. Okay, so once we have our data, as usual we are binding in our listing. Okay, so next we can review the questions one by one. So our first question is, what is NGRX? So the NGRX is the popular state management library. It is used for managing state and building reactive applications in Angular. And it is following this REDUX pattern from the intro itself I have mentioned. And this NGRX provides the robust and scalable solution for centrally and predictably managing application state. So NGRX allows developer to handle state changes efficiently and maintain a clear separation of concern. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. What are the commonly used libraries in NGRX? So the first and very important library is NGRX/store, and the next one is effects, and then router store, and the fourth one is entity, then component store, signals, and operators. Okay, but these two are the very important libraries. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. So the next one is, what is Redux? So Redux is a pattern for managing and updating application state using event called actions. Okay, and it serves as the centralized store for state that need to be used across your entire application, with the rules ensuring that the state can be only be updated in the predictable fashion. Okay, so we can see this diagram. From the overview itself I have explained, it's having the four important things like a store, action, reducers, and selectors, also these effects. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. What is the use of NGRX? So commonly we can say NGRX used for state management. That is fine. Additionally, we can say transferring data between the different components, mostly for the unrelated components. So just assume your application have more than 5 components. Okay, it don't have any relationship between the components. So now you are modifying data from one of the component. So as per the requirement, the changed value needs to be transferred to the all other components. Okay. So in this case, we can go with an NGRX. And finally, it is segregating HTTP request handling and the components. Okay. So using the effects concept, we can achieve this point. Okay. So we can move on to the next question. What is state in Angular? State can be defined as any data that should be saved and persisted across components lifecycle. This includes user data, application configuration, and various UI states. Okay, so the state can be any data type. So it's stored in our store as the object format. Okay, for the example, I can show you. So this is the state. From the initial state, we have a just object with the default values. That's it. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. Can we have multiple states in our application? Yes, we can use the multiple states. So let me show you one more example. So this is my associate model and then I'm having one state. So similarly, I have this customer. Okay, for the customer, I have created the another one state. For registering the states, we cannot directly do, so that we can do from the reducer side. Okay, so I have created the two reducers also. One is for customer and another one is for the associate. Finally, we can register everything in our app.model. See, so in this store model, I just included this associate reducer and also the custom reducer, and I have created the alias also. So this actually we can use in our selector side. So this alias we can use in our selector side. Okay. So one more thing I want to convey. So currently I'm showing the sample application. It is developed in Angular 16. Okay. So if you are using Angular 17, we don't have this app.model. So instead of that, we will have the app.config that I will show you in the end of the video. So minor changes only, but it's almost the same. Okay. So we can go for the next question. What is actions in NGRX? Actions express unique events that happen throughout your application. Actions help you to understand how events are handled in your application. So we can create actions using function createAction. So it's from our NGRX store. Okay, that also explained. And it's having two important sections. One is the action type, that is the unique and it's mandatory. Additionally, if required, we can have the parameters. Okay, for passing the parameters, we can use the props. So let me show the example. So again, if I am go with then this associate, see, this is one of the sample action. Okay, so the action defined using this createAction function, it is belongs to the NGRX store that you can see here. Okay, so in this action, we have this action type load associate fail. Okay, so this is the unique value, and we are passing the parameters in the format of string. Using these props, we are passing the parameters. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. How to dispatch the action? So in this NGRX store, provide the dispatch function. Using that, we can dispatch our actions. So that also already we seen. Anyway, let me show you once again. See, so this store actually be injected from the constructor. Okay, then it's having this dispatch function, and we are dispatching our actions also. Okay, so the same way, if you have any parameters in our action side, so this is the scenario, add associate, and here we pass the parameter also. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. How to pass parameters in action? By using the props, we can pass the parameters, and also we can pass the multiple parameters, and also we can pass any data types. Okay, so already I shown, let me show you once again. See, so in this example, we pass the data in string format, and the before one we are passed in the array. Similarly, we can pass the n number of parameters also. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. What is reducer? So reducer are function that take the current state of your application and an action, then it is returning the new state object. Okay, so based on the action type, it is modifying our state and it will return the new value. That's it. For the example purpose, we can see. So this is our reducer. So based on the action is success, then it is modifying our list. Okay, and then it will return the one new state. So simply we are modified the existing state based on the actions. That's it. How does an action differ from the reducer in NGRX? So we already seen what is NGRX action and NGRX reducer. So now we can see the difference. An action is a function that is used to trigger a change in the state of an application, while a reducer is a function that is used to handle the changed state. So in other words, an action is used to initiate the change, okay, while a reducer is used to actually implement the change. So we can move on to the next question. What is selector? A selector is a function that selects a slice of state from the store. Selectors can be used to create derived data such as filter list of items or a sum of items. Okay, so let me show you one of the example. So this is one of the selector. Okay, from this selector we can return the complete state. Otherwise, from this state we can return any of the object also. Okay, so in this example we have a three items. Okay, one is the list, then error message, and associate object. Okay, and I have shown this reducer also. So this reducer we have registered in our app.model using the alias associate. Okay, so the same alias as I mentioned we are using in our selector side. See, using this alias we are just to access the entire state. So after that, from this state we are created the separate select for this list. Okay, so similarly for this associate object, so the same way we can return the complete state or else the individual data. Okay, this selector can be subscribed in our component side. So in the example also I shown, anyway let me show you once again. See, using this select function we are subscribing our select. Okay, we can move on to the next question. What is createFeatureSelector? The createFeatureSelector is a convenience method for returning a top level feature state. It returns the typed selector function for a feature slice of state. See, so in our selector side, for getting the top level state, we used this one, createFeatureSelector. Okay, so after that only we are sliced as the individual selector. So we can move on to the next question. What is effects? In NGRX, effects provide a way to isolate side effects from components and services. By using an effect, you can make sure that your components or service is only responsible for the thing. For example, if you have a component that needs to make a request to an API, so you can use an effect to handle that request. Okay, so this way the component can focus on other things and the effects can take the care of API request. Okay, so previously if you are not using this NGRX, so we will inject the service in our component in order to we will use in our entire application. Okay, so once we have this NGRX effects for handling the service related things, we can move to this effect side. In our component side, we can simply dispatch the action and also we can subscribe the selectors. That's it. There is no direct interaction between the service side. So we can move on to the next question. What is the purpose of entity adapters in NGRX? Entity adapters are used to simplify the process of working with entities in NGRX. They provide a number of helper methods for performing CRUD operations on entities, as well as method for selecting entities based on the various criteria. Okay, so it's an additional library we have to use. The scenario I would say, so if you have different menus, okay, but it's all are having the common structure of columns. Okay, so in this case, we can go with this entity adapters. Let me show you. So in these customers, we have used the entity adapter. Okay, for defining the state itself, we are used this entity adapter. Okay, and it is providing get initiate state. So using that, we can initiate our state. So similarly, if you come to our reducer side, so it is providing the extension method setall for modifying our actual state, and for adding the data add one. Okay, for update one remove one. So using this helper method, so we can easily complete our CRUD actions. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. What is store dev tools? So this dev tools option used to we can debug our NGRX state change. Okay, for doing the implementation point of view, first thing is we have to install these packages. Once the package is installed, we have to include some configuration in our app.model store dev tools model, and it's having some properties. I just provided maximum age is 25. That means it will have the last 25 request information. The old data automatically deleted and log on only for the dev mode connection in soon. That is true. Okay. So basically, if you are installing the package, this So this configuration will be included automatically. So if it is not happen, then we have to do in the manual way. Okay. And the next thing is in our browser side, we have to include one extension. So that is REDUX DevTools. Okay. And next, let me tell you how to debug. So this is one of my sample application currently in the running mode. Okay. Same associate screen only. So if you come to this Redux tab, first let me refresh. See now, first it's initiated our store and then FX, and in our associate point of view, it's dispatching this action load associate. So if you are checked in this action side, we can see this type, it don't have any parameters, and also in our state side, we have default objects only, it don't have any values now, and in this different section, there is no difference. Okay. So next this request will go to the FX side, then it is coming back to our action once again. It is dispatching this load associate success. Okay. So in this state, in this action point of view, we will have this props list. Okay. We have some list of values and the type is load associate success. Okay. Next in our state also, we can see the value is updated. So in this list, we have some values. And this error message is empty and also this object also empty. Okay. And if you are checking the difference, see the highlighted areas are now included. Okay. And the same way, if I'm clicking this edit, it will trigger another one action. So first in this action point of view, we are passing one props, that is our ID, and in this state point of view, still it is the empty object only. Okay. Once it is succeeded, so in this object having some values. Okay, that if you are checking this difference, then you will know. So initially it should be empty, now it's having this value. So the same way we can reset this NGRX state also by clicking this option. See, so currently we don't have values in this pop-up, and also in this listing also we don't have any data. Okay, so the reason is we just cleared this NGRX data, it is reflected automatically. So once I refreshed, I got the data. Okay. So in this way, we can do the debugging and also the unit testing using this dev tools. And it is only applicable for the dev only. Okay, in this way, we can do this debugging and also the developer can do the unit testing also. Okay, we can move on to the next question. What is the difference between NGRX store, FX and entity? So the first one is NGRX store. So NGRX store is the library that provides the core Redux like store for NGRX. Okay. So even this example also we seen. So like this create action is coming from NGRX store for the reducer. The reducer also coming from this NGRX store only. And this selector, this create feature selector and also this create selector all are coming from the store only. Basically it's providing the. And the next one is NGRX EFX. So this NGRX EFX provide a way to isolate side effects from your NGRX stores. So that's what already we have seen. The HTTP requests are separated from the component. Okay. And the final one is NGRX entity. So using this NGRX entity, easily we can manage the entities in NGRX. That's it. So that already we have seen. So like we have a different menus, but all are having the same type of columns. By using this entity concept, we can reduce the code. Okay. So we can move on to the next question. And the next question is, why would you want to use NGRX instead of Angular services or RxJS subjects? So using this Angular services and then this RxJS subject also, we can transfer the data to the unrelated components. But if you are coming to this NGRX the way, okay, it's provide the better way to manage the state, and this can be helpful for a number of reasons, including making it easier to debug the application state, providing a more predictable way to manage the state and making it easier to unit test state management code. These are the reasons we are going with an NGRX. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. What are some real world use cases for the NGRX? So NGRX is the great tool for managing state in large scale application. It can be used to keep tracking of user data, application setting, and even application states. So we can move on to the final question. How to use NGRX in Angular 17? Okay. So first let me tell you. So in this Angular 16, we have a normal template, okay, that is completely model based template. In the Angular 17 point of view, we have two templates. The default one is standalone template, and as usual, if needed, we can use the model based template also. So if you are using the model template, there is no change. So the same way only we supposed to use. But the problem is when you come to the standalone template, there is no app.model file, okay? So instead of the app.model, we will have this app.config, okay? There only we have to include the configuration. So other sides are same only, like a reducer, action, effects, selector, state, all are same only. But in this app.model, so you can see this store model, effects model, and this store dev tools model. So these configuration changes we have to include in our app config section, okay? So let me show you one Angular 17 example also. So anyway, in our channel, we have created the separate video for handling NGRX in the standalone template. So I will include the video description also in the link. So this is one of the Angular 17 application, okay? This is one of the Angular 17 application. See the package version is 17. And if you checked in our app folder, so there is no app.model file, okay? Instead of that, we can have this app.config. We have registered our store like this. So the same reducer only, and we have created the alias. So instead of the store model, we have used this provide store option, okay? So the same way for the effects. So instead of the effect model, we used the provide effects. Other things are same. So in this array, we can have the n number of effects. So the same thing is applicable for the store. So in this object, we have three reducer, right? The same way we can do in this Angular 17 also. Okay. So this is the way whatever library we are installing, the configuration should be included in this app.config. So mostly it will be included automatically. Okay. So the changes only we have to do. So now we have covered most of the topics. To refer this NGRX website, okay. So here we will get the updated information. So in our channel also I mostly covered up to this entity. Okay. So these are the additional libraries. Maybe I will create the separate video. So like a component store and signals and operators. So when you are preparing for the interview, make sure you have to refer these areas. So then you will get some better idea. Okay. Okay, now we are in the end of the video. Still, if you have any doubts or clarification, please post in the comment box, and also please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you. Thanks for watching.